Well, that's very interesting. Thank you both for your insight on this new appointment here. And it's amazing how it has this resonance with the Doge himself and the First Lady, Elon Musk, and the role that he'll be playing alongside Donald Trump when he starts on Monday. Okay, that's great. Now, you mentioned Finanzas and the taxation department and the efficiency thereof, Nuno. Thank you very much for that. And we wanted to talk a little, or I was hoping you might help us foreigners out a little bit with managing our taxes, especially when it comes to the NIF. And if we start at the very beginning, those new to the country or about to come to Portugal, you will be confronted in a number of public situations when you're spending your money. Número de Contribuinte, there will be, as well as asking if you want a bag at the supermarket, you'll hear sacos in the sentence somewhere. You'll also hear Contribuinte as the climax of your shopping experience occurs, and it'll be like, what? And you will see other Portuguese people, or you'll see Portuguese people in the supermarket going, no.
That's exactly right.
How dare you? And it's like, I've got to ask. It's my job to ask. And then you'll have other Portuguese people shouting out a number, which comes as a great shock for American people. It's like, oh my God, don't shout out your personal details in a supermarket. It's like, you're going to get hacked as soon as by the time you've got in your car, your bank account will have been emptied by shouting out your personal details like that. Not quite. And look, he's Portuguese already, isn't he? Never give it. Right. Now, there is a case for giving it, is there not, Raquel? It's about tax relief. Can you explain in broad terms what this is about?
Yes, I can. And to relieve people of that massacre of shouting out loud the personal number, there's they can use a card. There was even a physical card one time, and you can get that at the post office. I think you can even print it in your tax portal. If you don't want to shout out that that number, you can give that card to the person. Certainly, if you have a company, that is the case. I always do that because it's then I know that that the people are not going to mess up the number.
Yes.
That is a very important thing, and it's a very different thing from other systems, because what everybody needs to understand when they come to Portugal is that everything is integrated. Okay, the tax system is all integrated with every company, with every business, and with every individual that has a NIF. So whenever you buy something and you register that buy with your NIF, the system knows that Raquel bought X at the supermarket, whatever, Pingo Doce, at this date for this amount,
at that
for
time,
these types of things.
Yes.
And Pingo Doce at their accountancy level also has registered that they sold something for me. And so by the time it comes to file your taxes and know what their costs were and all of that, everything is already in the system. Because every operation is already registered. So this is part of everything being integrated between companies, tax office, and people, which is something that is very different than in the majority of countries. The softwares that the companies have to have for the accountancy are certified softwares that communicate with the tax office. And so that's why you cannot write an invoice in a simple piece of paper like in other countries. No, I wrote a great invoice in Word. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work, because you have to have a certified software program that communicates with the tax office, because every time you as a company issue an invoice, it's going to communicate that your client, Raquel or whatever, made that purchase. And what happens in some areas is that the government allows for tax benefits in terms of deductions to the tax that you would pay in terms of IRS for certain things. And those certain things are things that are quite natural when you think about it. Grocery shopping, okay. Education, okay, that's a given. Health expenses, yes. But then there's other things that nobody ever suspects. That it's too early, Carl.
No, you're doing great. You are doing great. If anyone's got any issue with your pronunciation, Pete made a very good point. Raquel, ask any of us to say hairdresser in Portuguese, and we end up in the same way. So
Cabeleireiro. Yeah,
Cabeleireiro, there you
probably.
go. Yeah, absolutely. So you carry on, no problem.
Oh, I'm sorry about this.
Not at all. Not at all.
So there are other surprising areas like vet expenses. So if you have any pets, veterinarian expenses do count.
Yeah.
Car repairs and bike repairs, like motorcycles repairs, all of that counts too.
Yeah.
And these are the time. I mean, I rarely go to the hairdresser. That's to the cabeleireiro. That's true, but I don't think anyone ever would suspect that the fact that you go to the hairdresser or do your nails or whatever would count as a deduction for your yearly tax pay, because it deducts on the tax that you have to pay. So what you have to look out is on the tax portal. You get into your tax portal with your password. You go to e-fatura, okay?
Yep.
And then you can see every year, you can see all the expenses that you've made where you gave out your NIF. They should be listed there. Now, what you really have to be concerned about is up until the middle of February, I think it's 15 or whatever February, you have to verify some of those invoices.
Yes.
Not all of them, just some of them. And why? Because at Pingo Doce or at Continente, let's say, I can buy a book for my studies, but I can also buy a steak to eat. And so sometimes the commercial codes that those companies have behind them are for a number of different things. And so you have to manually say to the system, this is for education, this is for gas, transportation, the passe social, so those monthly tickets where you buy a month worth of transportation, those can be deducted as well. So please go check the different expenses that can be deducted, and also go there, and for every expense that is not specifically dedicated to an area, you have to say what it was for. And when you do that, you can have a full deduction. And listen, there's 250 euros just for groceries. I think that's that's nice. That's quite a few dinners for me. So and there's a number of other deductions there you can accumulate. So just go there to the tax portal, e-fatura. Okay.
Well, that's wonderful. That's really brilliant. And Pete has put that spelling up for that. So e-fatura, I'm assuming that's right on the screen there, and you can get it.
E-fatura, yes, you can have on the App Store. But even if you go to the tax portal as I always say, the best thing to find anything in the tax portal is go to the search box. Right. Contrary to all other sites in the world, the best way to find something is on the search box. So you just put e-fatura. Yeah. And you go there and you can see what you deducted last year. You can see what you're deducting this year. And it's actually even a good tool for financial control, because you can see where you're spending your money.
Yes.
So
this is a great topic this morning. Loads going on in the chat. Good morning to you, Philomena. Great to see you. Arrived at my office, -1 in Central. I hope you warm up soon. A nice cup of tea there in the office and get that heater on. Now, the excellent topic. So a number of comments coming in. Portuguese wisdom once shared with me, the only person who benefits from using your contribuent is you. And that's great. There is a wonderful tax application. I think you've already told us about this now, Pete. There you go. If you're running your own business, this is where it really helps. So we'll come back to that, how there's a distinction between when it's your own business and when it's domestic spending. Remember, a few years ago, they wanted to mandate the NIF. And is it true then that it is by law that your retailers do have to ask you if you want to submit the number, or is it just a courtesy? It's mandatory, is it?
Yes, because it's a tax obligation that they have. They cannot sell anything without issuing an invoice. So if they don't ask,
but it's not mandatory to give the number, not yet anyway.
No, it's not mandatory for the client to give it. It's mandatory for the company to ask for it. But you cannot put a gun to people's head and make them give it. No. But they do have to ask it, because it is a tax obligation that they have.
Yes, everyone's a tax collector, aren't they? Yes, and apparently the minister's NIF was given out So he got a lot of tax relief.
Yeah, that happens.
You can do that for other people then. Everyone switched on and gave it. Oh, that's amazing. That's so Portuguese as a response as well. I love that.
Let me just give just a tip here. When you have a family, like I have a family of 5,
yeah,
you may want to divide those expenses into the several NIFs. So for instance,
Okay, yeah.
when I buy something, everybody, even my husband, they always use my NIF. So it's like I'm the only one that buys anything. I'm like I'm the rich person that buys everything for the whole family. That's not true. So I'm the capitalist one. No, it's just that it's the number that everybody has in their head. But it is a good thing to spread out those expenses into all of the family members that you have. Yep. So in terms of schools, for instance, because there's limits for educational expenses. So if you have 2 kids, if you put both schools, which doesn't make sense, but just for an example's sake, if you put both schools in the same NIF, you'll max out with just 1 kid. So you really have to be mindful of spreading out those invoices for health benefits and schools and studies and all of that throughout your family.
That was my main reason for asking you actually this morning, is how do you know when you've got to the maximum of your allowances? Because if you give it's not worth giving your NIF every time you go to the supermarket all year, is it? Because as you say, there's a ceiling.
There's a max.
How do you find out when to stop?
You go to the tax portal. That's everything is there.
You've done the €250.
Yeah, you can see you can see there, and you can see the max in each one of the areas.
Right.
So you can see where you have the space to still have some allocation there.
That gets you in the habit of being on the portal and taking care of your affairs there.
Did you want to do that like monthly? Because if you do that once a year, you'll go crazy. Because
most people do. Yeah.
There will be a ton of invoices to check, and you'll give up.
That's right. And you haven't been on there for a year. You go and do it. You can't see how to do it. You've got an hour until the deadline comes, and everyone else is doing that, and they crash the site. That's what happens. That's what happens. Nuno, did you want to add anything to this?
Yes. So we have different limits for education, for health insurance, for example, and also for grocery, water bill, electricity, and all of these. Supermarket, electricity, water, gas, or diesel bills, they are all together on the same group.
Yeah.
And because we are not online, right, Carl? We're not online in this moment. We also need to be aware that every time that you tell your NIF, the tax office, they are knowing what you are doing and where you are spending and how much you are spending.
Yes.
So you may want, because you have a limit of €250 to all of these bills that I just talked about. It's the limit is 35% of them with a limit of €250. So roughly 1/3. So if once you reach 3 times this number, you don't need to ask for to get the bill with your NIF. Okay. And this way, the tax office, they don't know where you are spending your money or how much you want to spend.
That's right.
I'm only talking with this because we are not online, okay?
For example. Well, yeah, and also that is a crafty way, is it not, of people of the government finding out how much you're saying you're spending and how much you claim you want to pay in tax. And James has pointed this out to us. There's loads of great comments. Thank you so much. I don't know if we're going to get to all of these today, but I'm sure you're helping each other in the comments. But yeah, if you say you earn 20,000 a year and you've got all these receipts for spending 40,000 a year, that might be a little bit of a red flag, might it not? That's just to say, hey,
maybe,
maybe. Okay, that's really good. Other questions coming in. James, good morning. Great to see you, James Campbell. I was amazed to find that when I started my company here this month, all I needed was some good software, and it does it all for me. And that comes back to you, Raquel, doesn't it? There are some fabulous benefits. when you start a company on how these things can be managed. And Raquel's the person to speak to if you want to do that. Coming to you, Nuno, the liability insurance was a surprise for me as a sole trader. That's James starting a company. Not required at all in the UK, but it is in Portugal. What does James mean there, Nuno?
I don't know what kind of liability James is talking about, because there are a lot of liabilities, professional. Yeah, because I don't know what kind of liability is this. I don't know if it's the family liability that we also can have. We usually introduce this coverage through the home insurance. So I don't know.
It's probably the accidents at the workplace, no?
Oh, I think that's to do with when people visit your workplace. That's right.
I don't know, but don't confuse with the workers' compensation insurance, which is mandatory.
I think it's that. I think it is workers' compensation.
Okay, because in USA, I think that it's a liability, and in Portugal is a standalone insurance policy.
Very good. Okay, now it's coming up to 9 o'clock. What I'd love to do then in this instance, because it's been such a popular subject, can we pick it up and run with it again when you come back next month, the pair of you, Raquel and Nuno? Because there's the confusion with EVA as well, people thinking whether they should start a business or not, and NHR, etc., etc. So we've got a lot of great content here to address for you. Dear Gumpers, thank you very much for your contributions this morning, and thank you, Raquel and Nuno. Caution to immigrants, says James, you may not be asked. My guess is because an assumption is being made that you don't have one. There is that. He's got his mushroom collection with him. Oh my goodness, hold on, we need to zoom in. So we shall carry on with this next month. We need to have a look at these mushrooms, though. What a beautiful collection, Nuno. Do you have a favorite?
Our harvest. Well, this was the first one.
Right,
this was the first one.
Yes. That's incredible. The gold one is very, very special. You've got to be careful when you sit down in your office.
It was an offer.
That's amazing. That's incredible. And please bring your mushrooms again next time. And Pete was saying a foraging opportunity, I think, is talking to Mistress. I have to arrange lunch with our local mushroom expert this week. They're always long and fuzzy. Is that the mushroom expert or the mushrooms themselves that are long and fuzzy in your part of the country? And I do need to clear something up. Apologies if you were offended by this. When we were looking earlier on in the Portugal resident, that was the advertisement that came up there, and that was sent in by someone saying, is that lady passing gas? I don't know if it's a comment about Portuguese politics or if it's a genuine, maybe it's a cinnamon advert. Maybe cinnamon can help with that sort of thing as well. Thank you. What a note to end on. Thank you very much, Raquel of Lighthouse Consulting. Thank you, Nuno. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Take care, and bye for now. I better find the outro video. There it is. Take care. Bye for now, everybody. See you tomorrow morning. Ciao, ciao.
Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.